Yes, Nidhi ma'am, I think our view change થઈ ગયો છે. Hi, good afternoon, Shruti. Everybody is having a different view कि वही same है कल जैसा.
No, as if we are attending.
हाँ, I know. Okay. Yes, the immersive view has stopped. Who is the host? I'll have to check 1 second.
Good evening, ma'am. Myself Shazad, and I'm the host of this session.
Okay, Shazad. Yes, so we'll just wait for 2 more minutes. 17 people have joined in. Let everyone join in. So Shehzad, you're told to change the view, or is this fine?
So I was just testing about the view, and it looked good, so that I just applied for the minute.
Sorry, I cannot hear you.
So I was just testing a different view, and I just click on this one.
No, not I still didn't get it, but it's okay. Normal view. It's now the normal view. Okay. Oh, acha, you have an issue with your mic. No problem. Yes. Yes. So what did we do yesterday? Anyone who would like to give us a brief recap? Yes.
We have discussed about the communication, the verbal, non-verbal, in that assertive, passive, aggressive, and all that. Then we have talked about the elevated speech and how to make the connection and all that.
Okay. Very good. Yes. Absolutely. And then what did we discuss in the last bit of it? In non-verbal, what did we discuss?
We discuss about the how much percentage is verbal, how much percentage is non-verbal, what is the importance of the body language, and what is the importance of like speech and tone and all that.
Yes. So we saw about the tone. Okay. Now, non-verbal communication, as I said, was it consists of body language and it consists of vocal aspects, as in speech, the rate of speech, the pitch, the tone, the voice modulation, etc. Okay. Now, today, we are just 25. I think we can start. Today, we are going to discuss something which is known as first impressions. Now, is first impression verbal or non-verbal? What do you think? Yeah.
Non-verbal.
Non-verbal first impressions? Yes. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. Most of the times I get this question from a lot of people. Ma'am, first impression जैसा कुछ होता है? Ma'am, first impression मतलब क्या? You just look at the person and it's so superficial. First impression का क्या मतलब है? हमारे जैसे फील्ड में जिसमें हम टेक्निकली बहुत इम्पोर्टेंस देते हैं अपने आप को कि हम टेक्निकली ये हैं, हम टेक्निकली वो हैं, तो हम लोगों को फर्स्ट इम्प्रेशंस की क्या जरूरत है? यस, यू गाइस फील लाइक दैट?
No, I guess it matters.
Okay, it matters. According to Parag, you feel that it matters. Okay. Why does it matter?
I think it shows
and you
our
feel that it doesn't
personality.
matter, then why does it not matter? Yeah, sorry. Yes, Shruti.
I think it shows our personality and how you are going to start, and it shows your the way of communication, one of the way of communication style.
Okay, it is one of the way of communicating. Yes, non-verbally, maybe. Yes, Ria.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good
Ma'am,
afternoon.
first impression is the thing like बंदा already जो next person है वो एक view create कर लेता है हमारे बारे में कि like how this person is, how that knowledge, कितनी knowledge है इसको, something a viewpoint create हो जाता है first
Okay,
impression से.
right. Yes, absolutely. एक viewpoint तो create हो ही जाता है. But then, are you able to change that viewpoint or no? In
Yes.
the future come. Okay.
Yes, we can.
You can. Okay. Yes, Parag.
As we discussed in public connection, in public speaking, connection matters. So that connection you can get from the first impression. The first impression which you give, that will set up the initial connection with the audience. So that matters. That's why.
Right. So the initial connect matters. Okay. That is something which you can do by your appearance, your first impressions. Yes, Shripal?
I think first impression matters because it is inevitable. It is our brain is designed to function like that. That it will form conclusions on the basis of patterns in the past data, and it will continuously do that. It will do that about everything and even a person. So our brain is going to form a conclusion about that person, like judging a book by its cover. So we can't stop it. It's our fundamental programming maybe of our brain. So we have to just accept it and get along with it. So that's why it matters.
Yes. So Vidhi says first impression is the last impression. Yes. Do you think so?
No, ma'am. First impression matters, but it's not the last impression, because brain is constantly updating the new information and constantly forming new conclusions on based of new data. So of course, when new data is available, new conclusions will be formed. So no, first impression can't be the last impression. But it may be last till the brain gathers enough data to form new conclusions, and up to that while we may lose some opportunities.
Absolutely right. So first impression is never the last impression. If you meet that person more than once, you are definitely going to change your impression. But if you're going to meet that person only once, imagine you're meeting this person today, whoever you're going to meet today, you are going to meet him only once. Then the first impression would matter. If that person from your first impression decides कि मुझे इस बंदे के साथ काम ही नहीं करना, मुझे इस बंदे के साथ कुछ और फ्रेंडशिप ही नहीं करनी, मुझे इस बंदे के साथ शादी ही नहीं करनी. Okay, so it also comes in matrimony, it also comes during your profession, it also comes in your personal life, whether it is friendship or any other acquaintance. Agar that person decides from the first impression that no, I don't want to meet this person the next time, then you might lose that opportunity. Okay. But if you meet a person more than once, the impressions keep on forming, and it is the part of the brain that we always, हम कितना भी बोले, but subconsciously, हम जितना भी बोले कि we are not judgmental people, we don't judge, that's true. Okay, you might be non-judgmental, but still that doesn't mean that you will not form a first impression. Yes, you will subconsciously form a first impression. You might acknowledge it or you might not acknowledge it. That's up to you. Okay, so everybody forms a first impression. We say first impressions matter because of this, that sometimes if a person doesn't like that impression, he might not give you a second chance. Okay, so that's when it matters. Now see the two pictures which are in front of you. What do you think are the profession of these females?
So one is looks like entrepreneur and the other one looks like some kind of service sector.
Hospitality.
Hospitality.
Okay. The first one is Hospitality.
Hospitality.
Second one is entrepreneur. Anyone else who would like to give it a try?
Second is holding an executive position in some industry, like kind of a thing.
And first?
First one looks like a housewife, and second looks like a executive or else top management in some recognized company.
Okay. Anyone else who would like to give it a try? Yes, Ria.
I think first one looked like an employee working under someone, and the second one looked like owner's entrepreneur.
All right. Okay. So the first one is a model of a sari company, and she also looks like a housewife. She's made to dress like a housewife, a TV serial opera jaisa. The second one is Chanda Kochar. She was the CEO of ICICI Bank. The infamous activities came during her tenure. So she actually, the second, so Chanda Kochar is, she was known for a lot of activities which happened in ICICI, which were above the, they were not legal, illegal activities. But looking at her, you would always feel that, okay, she is at some executive position. She is some trustworthy person. So if you don't know her, and she's so famous, still you don't know her, looking at her, you would always trust her and give her. कि पता ही नहीं होगा कि चंदा कोचर ने क्या किया है, तो आप उसको अपना पैसा दे दोगे इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए, I'm sure. Yes. So we as CAs, we have to take care of the books of accounts of people, which is so confidential. And a lot of times we have to deal with finance, which involves so much of trust. Okay. Second, we have to involve ourselves in taxation matters. Okay, someone can unmute Kajol. Right. So then as CAs, we have to involve ourselves in finance activities, which again involves finance activities, taxation activities, taxation, advice for the client. And all these activities involve keeping so much of trust on the CA. And if you look very casual, or if you look very, very unprofessional, or if you don't look the part, who will actually trust you? You tell me. Okay. Chanda Kochar looks the part. She was the CEO of the largest bank, जिसने पूरे देश के लोगों का पैसा रखा है. Okay, संभाल के रखा है. She has to look like that. Yes. If you don't look the part, I think a lot of opportunities which would have otherwise come your way don't come your way.
Ma'am, if I can say, here we know Chanda Kochar. If they would have been a different person, it would have been a better. I mean,
exactly.
wild guesses would have been more.
Right. So you guys, even if people know, but those of you who, she's such a famous personality, still she looks the part.
That being true.
Yeah. So she looks the part, and still people thought that she is at a very high position. She's an executive, etc. Right. So that's what it is, that, even if aap andar se kaise bhi ho, you can definitely look the part. That's how is the message, right? You should definitely look professional as a CA. So the way you are groomed, the way you present yourself, the way you look decides your status, your smartness, your authority, like at what level you are in the company or anywhere in your life, your success. It also decides your trustworthiness. Okay. So as I said, if you wouldn't have known, those of you who don't know who's Chanda Kochar, you would have definitely laid your trust on her, and you would have definitely given her your money. right? So this is most important for grooming. So here, that's why we have taken this grooming part also in public speaking, because you have to look the part. Yes, but we are not going to go in detail today. We are going to take the grooming part today, but the dressing part of it, the dressing part of it will be taken by Monali ma'am tomorrow. So she will be taking you through the nitty-gritties of what to wear, when to wear. It's not that every time in every meeting you have to wear a blazer and go. No, not required. Okay, so where to look, how to look, and what to wear in what places, that is something which she will be telling you. So layers of dressing, like layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, layers of dressing, along with how to look the best, that will be taken up tomorrow. Today we'll be taking up the other non-verbal bit of first impressions. Okay, so how to groom yourself, how to present yourself and look the part. Even if from inside you're feeling underconfident, if you look the part, you'll definitely, people will feel that you're more confident, right? So up your game, up the game by the packaging. However you are, you might be a technically sound person, you might not be technically very sound person, but if the packaging is good, okay, a lot of times people will place trust on you, and then you can learn the game. Yes, I think tomorrow, I'm not sure tomorrow, if you don't have a session, maybe it's on the next Tuesday, Viral. Yeah. Yeah. So tomorrow is what? Friday. So we don't have a session on Friday, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So maybe next Tuesday you'll have a session. Yeah. So up your game by packaging yourself well. First, what you can do, like during a meeting, during public speaking, during any conversation, you can prop it up. Okay. So if I say that, I have something for you. Okay. What is this? Yes. What is this? Anyone?
Charger.
Charger. Okay. So I would say that whenever you feel down in life, use a charger for yourself, like you use a charger for your laptop or your phone. It is very important to charge yourself or rejuvenate yourself. Okay, so I showed a charger to actually explain you that how charging is important for yourself also. Okay, now what is this?
A remote control.
Yes, it is a pointer or a remote. Now remote control controls the temperature of the AC, or controls the buttons or the PowerPoint in a presentation. So in the same way, the remote control of your life should be here and not with someone else. The way you react to a situation shows your mental stability. Okay, and if you give that power, if anybody can make you angry anytime, if anybody can piss you off in 2 minutes, or if anybody can make you happy and sad, there, that means the remote control of your life is in someone else's hand. Okay, so what I did was I explained the concept of mental stability and keeping your mental control by a prop. So whenever you give a speech, definitely a prop would help. So whenever you feel like, prop it up, take some chocolates, take some books. To give an example, take a remote control or a pointer or a charger or anything which is handy, a marker. Okay, you can say that you can rub off your guilt, and you can rub off the negativity, and you can rub off your past bad experiences, just like a marker rubs off from the board. Okay, so that's how you can prop it up. These are the I'm telling you the tips to up your first impression. Okay, so you can note it down if you want. These are some small. So this is a non-verbal communication, people. Okay, this is a non-verbal communication, right? But what you can do is you can use it to have a good first impression on people. Yes, you don't have to do anything. You just have to take it. Remember to take it while you are going to speak. Second, learn to grab attention of people by your dressing, by your personality. So I would say learn it from the Arabs. Have you ever seen an Arab person? Yes. The I would say the kings of the Arab countries. How do they dress? What do they wear?
It's like a complete gown.
White gown. And
White.
yeah,
I'm unable
and
to see, ma'am, Arab women.
rumal on their head with black
Yes,
ribbon.
Uncle. Yeah, true. Yes, Ruchi. You know what is it called? The white robe is called a kandora. Okay, it's called a kandora, and the black turban sort of a thing, they wear it on their heads, right? So it's been years that they are wearing it, but they're not changing their dressing. Okay, they might go for playing a sport, or they might go for scuba diving, etc. And somewhere in the water, somewhere in the beach, they might change their clothes and wear something which is appropriate to the place. But then back again, when they are in Dubai, or when they are in their own country, and when they are moving around in the city, they will always wear that white kandora. Yes, and that's how they always grab attention. Okay, you know, how much ever you try to avoid, you will always notice such a person. Yes, so that's why I say that grab the attention in any speech. Try and learn from the Arabs. Why I'm giving you these small examples is it's not very difficult. Okay, it's easy. You know, there are identify your signature move. That can also be an attention grabber. So that's what is my next point. Choose a signature gesture. Yes, so wherever you go, you might choose a signature gesture, which some gestures are like humbling, some like this. So if I do like this, you might remember someone. If I do like this, you might remember someone. These are the signature gestures of great speakers. Yes, so if you are planning to become a great orator, definitely choose a signature gesture for you. Yes, and then package and sell it well. So out of these two chocolates, which one would you buy? Tell me.
Bottom one.
The bottom one? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So the ingredient is the same inside. It's homemade chocolates. But the way the second one is presented is a little more better than the first one. So it has an edge. Okay. So aisa bhi nahi hai ki it's something which is very high end. They've used normal. So if you see white color ka normal paper liya, unhone to kuch glittery bhi nahi liya hai. But what they have written is different flavors they've written. One is written hot cocoa truffles, the other is written something else. So they've just put a heart on it and just put a nice name. Okay, and nicely packaged. So definitely it's gonna sell. People will like to buy it. Yes, any questions so far? Otherwise, we'll go to essentials of public speaking. So we did how to change your tone, how to come across as a person, as a more polite, as a more controlled person. Even if you are angry or even if you are very nervous, come across as a very controlled person, change your tone. Okay, and also we covered body language the first day. Today we did a little bit of why first impressions matter. Why? Because even before you start speaking, people will have an impression about you, or they will start judging you. So make that impression worthwhile. Okay, there's a saying where it is said that people are going to stare, make it worthwhile their time. Okay, so that's where the impression, first impression, or the dressing or the grooming, and your personality or your signature gesture or your dressing would, like the Arabs would, how you stand apart would actually make a difference. Yes, any questions? Okay, we are thorough. No problem. If you have any questions, write it in the chat box also. We'll take it up. So essentially, whatever you say, whenever you say, should be simple. There is no need to make it too complicated. People will not understand if you make it complicated. It should be simple. Like I said, package it well, or I said, learn it from the Arabs, or I said that there should be one signature gesture for you. Okay, that's simple, right? Things which are simple to follow. And even when you're speaking, speak of things which are simple to understand. And if they're not simple, they're complicated, then as a speaker, it's your job to make it simple. Right? So make things simple for the audience. Second, make it effective. Okay. So if you come here for 2 hours, it should be effective for you people. You should have some value addition, right? Third, be polite. Whatever you're going to speak, the harshest of the topics, be polite in saying whatever you are going to say. So if you are in an office meeting where people have not performed well and you are going to just actually tell them that they've not performed well, be polite in saying that also, because trust me, the message gets conveyed better when it's polite and a little polite and stern, rather than harsh and rude. So if I say something like this, pointing at you, what are you saying? You will be actually petrified by my expressions and not take my message. Okay. Didn't I tell you to do this? Yes, that's a very harsh expression, and people will then fall in for your expression. They're not going to see the message at all. So rather than being harsh and rude, it can always be polite and stern. Yes, that's when the message will be better conveyed. Now, this is very, very important for personal, professional conversations also, not just giving speeches. Okay. All that we are going to cover in these 2 days are not limited to speeches. Okay, people, it is more about one-to-one also, and one to professionally, one to 2, 3, 4 also. Okay. Then any conversation needs to be crisp, not very long. Nobody has the time to listen to you for hours and hours. They're going to drift off. Okay, so listening skills हम कितना भी बोलें but लोगों में नहीं है. So the message should be crisp, very, very crisp. And last but not the least, avoid grammatical and spelling mistakes. Okay, so if you can, see, it's not necessary to talk in English, but if you are talking in English, make sure you don't make blunders. Mistakes are okay, small mistakes are fine, but people make big blunders, especially in speeches. If you make such blunders, then the other person is gonna be switched off, और फिर उसका दिमाग वहीं पे चलता रहेगा, आपके ब्लंडर पे ही चलता रहेगा. Right? So once I had gone for an interview, and it was sort of a meeting actually rather than an interview. We were pitching a client, and it was a big university, right? So we were 2 trainers. We were going to pitch this big university, and there were female you could say faculties. Then there was a dean, And then there were, V2 trainers were there, and the person who was taking us there was also there. All 5-6 people were sitting in the room, and we were talking, and we were waiting for the trustee to come, trustee of the college. Okay, and as soon as he entered, he was like, oh my God, sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm late, I'm so sorry. My schedule is so erotic these days. And we were all shocked that what is he talking about? Okay, so he actually meant my schedule is very erratic. Erratic means very disturbed. And he made a big blunder. Okay, and nobody had the guts to actually correct him that time. But then after the meeting was over, I don't know, but the dean or the other trustees, if they would have corrected him, it would be better. Okay, so if you get such feedbacks, kindly accept it and kindly take it very positively. Okay, because we all make mistakes, that's okay. But if you're using English, use it with a lot of care. Yes, all right. Coming to the final touches. Okay, these are the final touches of your speech. Yes, we are not taking up structuring etc. would be taken up by Aneri ma'am. She's going to actually teach you how to do an opening, how to do the body to closing, and how to structure your talks. That is something which you're going to do in detail for sure. Even English is going to be taken up a little more in detail. There I mean, Priyanka ma'am will not teach you English, but of course good tips you will get on how to use English. Yes, so final touches about your speech should be, whenever you're making a speech, you should keep these things in mind. Okay, one, what is your goal? Okay, even in normal conversation, what is your goal? Do you really want to get angry on the person, or you want to solve the problem? Do you want to convey a message, or do you want to keep the relationship? Do you want to fight, or do you want to just stop the other person doing something? Okay, have that clarity of goal in your mind, right? Second, assess the environment. So before starting your talk, just assess whether that person is in the right frame of mind or not. Okay. Third, choose the appropriate style of communication. Choose it. Now, which style of communication would you choose in front of a very aggressive person? If the other person is very aggressive, which style of communication would you choose? Yes, Ria.
A very polite one. Politely
Right.
we should speak.
Exactly. So you should not get aggressive sounding. Okay, otherwise you are not going to reach a conclusion. If two people there, then there's just a dispute, there's no conclusion. Okay, so you have to be very polite and you have to mix. Okay, so I told you passive aggressive, assertive, aggressive, all these are the styles of communication, and you have to choose a certain style to convey your message. Okay, then decide the appropriate medium. Okay, whether it should be online, whether it should be offline. Decide an appropriate medium and then give your talk. Right, in these times we are choosing online because it's convenient for everybody, so appropriate medium will always be helpful. Okay, next, remove barriers. Right, so if we have technical barriers, if I have people around me, noise around me, I cannot take up a session. I will have to remove those barriers. I will have to work on removing those barriers, and only then I'll be able to give a good session. Yes. Next, put yourself in the other person's shoes. Now, this is very important. If I don't put myself in the other person's shoes, तो मैं students को corporate CEO level की training दे के आ जाऊं और CEOs को मैं student level की training दे के आ जाऊं, will it work? No. Yes, so even with the client, if you're going to give a presentation, जिसको English आती ही नहीं और आप English में अगर presentation दे के आ जाते हो, will it work? No. So you have to put yourself in the other person's shoes, think according to him, and then give your talk or then speak to that person or then give a presentation to that person. And lastly, create win-win situations. So today you are here to learn. Okay, I am here because the CA Institute is giving me a remuneration. That's a win-win situation for the two of us. Only if it is a win-win situation, we both will give our 100%, and then the outcome will be 200%. Yes. Okay, so that's what is the final touches of a talk. Any questions still here? Okay, are we getting the PPT of the sessions? No, Anil, actually these PPTs are made by the faculties. I don't think the respective faculties would share. This recordings maybe you might get for a certain period of time. Okay. So any questions about your first impression, how to prop it up and how to make the final touches? Any questions? No? Okay. So a good conversation is like a mini skirt, short enough to retain interest, but long enough to cover the subject. Yes? So always keep that in mind before giving any talk. First and foremost, during the showcase or during your speech or during your presentation, you should keep in mind that it should always be conversational and never ever should it be like one way. Okay, if it is one way, people will tend to lose interest. Yes. Second, be in the present. Now what we do, कई लोगों ने मुझे ये बोला that ma'am we get nervous. Yes. Now this nervousness comes because you are not present in the moment. You always, हाँ, तो आप हमेशा फ्यूचर का सोचते हो, लोग क्या सोचेंगे, लोग मुझे जज करेंगे, people will think I'm not good enough. ये सब क्या हो गया? Future. Okay, and that too negative. Okay, or otherwise you might think, oh my god, it's going to be a great session, I know, wow, that's also positive, but that's also future, right? So what happens is you are not present in the moment. That's why you get nervous. So a very pro tip here, a good tip here is that try looking at yourself in the mirror. Okay, look at yourself for 1 minute. Keep looking at yourself in the mirror. Second thing, what you can do is try tongue twisters. Okay, so any tongue twister. She sells seashells on the seashore. This shows that I am there in the moment. If you are nervous or if you're not in the moment, you cannot get the tongue twister correctly. Trust me. So to get the tongue twister correct, you will have to stop your thoughts and come back to the moment. Okay, so I give you 1 minute. Everyone right now, anyone who wants to unmute also, you can unmute, and everyone has to say one tongue twister in their mind or maybe to class. Yes.
May I?
Yes, please.
चंदू के चाचा ने चंदू की चाची को चांदनी चौक में चांदी की चम्मच से चटनी चटाई.
Very nice. Okay. Yes. Anyone else? That's a very nice and a very funny way to come back or be present in the moment. If your mind is into a lot of thoughts, just say 2-3 tongue twisters, it will come back. Right? All right. Okay. Then coming to the next point, paraphrasing. Now, whenever you are giving a talk, try to rephrase it if people are not able to understand what you're trying to say. Try to give example. Paraphrasing का मतलब क्या होता है? Anyone who knows what is paraphrasing? What is rephrasing and paraphrasing?
Is it like, ma'am, saying the same thing in a different opinion or in a different manner, so that the person can understand what exactly the sentence want to convey?
Yes, right. Now this comes very handy when you are in taxation field. Okay, tax, indirect tax, direct tax, law, legal, all these fields are very, very technical. And when people don't understand, what you have to do is you have to make it in the language in which they understand. That's called paraphrasing. It is as effective as a Swiss knife. Swiss knives are considered to be the most effective in cutting and sharpness, etc. So paraphrasing gives a sharpness to whatever you are speaking. Right? Next, plan the talk or have a planned talk. List the flow. Now, when people say that I forget what I'm speaking, that's what it is. Even if you plan it, people don't plan it correctly. See, what you have to do, these were the questions which were asked to Monali ma'am also. What you have to do is आपको रटना नहीं है. I'm a kind of person, I had glossophobia for the largest amount of time in my life. Okay, so I cannot memorize a speech and give it on the stage. That's not possible for me. What I have to do is I have to plan the flow कि पहले मैं ये कराऊंगी, फिर मैं ये कराऊंगी, उसके बाद मैं ये कराऊंगी, और अगर मुझे इसके सिवा के आंसर्स आए तो मैं उस तरह से बोलूंगी. Okay, I have never memorized my trainings, or I have never memorized anything what I'm going to say in my trainings. So even during your talks, it should never be a monologue. One, it should be conversational. So conversational hoga to वैसे भी you will be with the flow. And secondly, you should plan the talk only the flow wise, that I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. Okay, and the pointers. That's it. Let's list the points and the flow, and you're good to go. You don't need to memorize the whole thing. Yes. Okay, this is the very effective way of talking. Next, don't pontificate and don't bluff. Anyone who knows the meaning of pontificate?
It's like a fabrication or decorating with the high language or what?
Yeah, you're quite close, but something else. It means something else.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone else who wants to try? Pontificate. Pontificate means to always say कि मैंने जो बोला वही सही है. Okay, what I am saying is the truth. It's the ultimate truth. What you're saying is rubbish. What you are saying is rubbish. What I am saying is the ultimate truth. That's called pontificate. And when you say that कि भाई यही आएगा, देखो पेपर में यही आने वाला है, कल यही रूल चेंज होने वाला है, कल ऐसे ही होने वाला है, and if you bluff it and if you pontificate, people will lose that respect in you. Okay, because every time you can't deliver. अरे सर आप देखो ना, मैं कल बता रहा हूँ ना आपको, कल हो जाएगा, आपका कल हो जाएगा, आप क्यों चिंता कर रहे हो? Okay, that's something which will not create a very good impression. So all these things are for your first impression and then for a lasting impression. Okay, so never pontificate, don't bluff. Public speaking or any conversation should be two-way. Be present in the moment, paraphrase, plan your talk, and don't pontificate or don't bluff. Next, leave the details out. Okay, I've seen this in so many people. अरे इतनी डिटेल में मुझे पता है वो ये केस लॉ का this section and this chapter and this commentary and this, you write it in the emails also to the client also, as if the client is going to read. Okay, and you also give in your talks also. A lot of speakers I've seen, oh my god, you know, in tax we have this section, this subsection, this number, this date, dated this, dated that, notification dated this, everything, you know, you give so many details that people feel bored, they switch off and they don't want to listen to you. Okay, so leave the details out, give the message clearly. Next, ask open-ended question. Isn't it? Don't you think so? Didn't I tell you? These are open-ended questions where you don't expect the answer from the person, but still it is conversational. इसको बोलते हैं conversational. ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको आंसर की वेट करनी है, फिर लोग आंसर ही नहीं देंगे तो क्या करोगे आप? खड़े रहोगे. Yes. So a lot of times you don't expect the answer. Just ask open-ended questions to make it more conversational. Are you understanding? Yes, in this I'm expecting an answer. This is not an open-ended question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. Right? So ask open-ended questions in your talks. Isn't it? Aren't you getting it? Next is try not to repeat yourself. Oh my god, this is the worst you can do. I mean, there are so many people who just keep on repeating the same thing क्योंकि उनको 2 घंटे का टाइम दिया और उनका टॉक 1 घंटे में खत्म होने वाला है, तो वो वही की वही चीज बार बार बोलते रहते हैं. ऐसा है, आपके पास टाइम है तो टेक क्वेश्चंस or just interact on a different topic. You need not stretch your topic or need not stretch the monologue, as I'm saying. Open a dialogue, give an open field to other people also, right? But if you keep on stretching the monologue, आप ही बोलते रहोगे, and you are repeating the same thing, then people obviously are not going to listen. Yes. Next is listen. I cannot reiterate the importance of listening. I have an entire topic of listening right now after this, because this is the most underrated skill we have, listening. हमें टॉकिंग सिखाया जाता है, हमें राइटिंग सिखाया जाता है, पब्लिक स्पीकिंग सिखाया जाता है, लेकिन लिसनिंग कोई नहीं सिखाता. Okay, be interested to listen to others. Only then people will be interested to listen to you. If you interrupt, if you said हाँ बाद में ठीक है, अभी बैठ जाओ बाद में लेंगे क्वेश्चंस, we don't want it, अभी रुक जाओ, अभी टाइम नहीं है, मैं इतना पहले खत्म कर लूं. Okay, हाँ, I'll just finish this off, then we'll take it. Just 2 minutes, just let me finish, If you're not interested in talking to people or listening to people, they're not interested in listening to you either. Yes. Lastly, go with the flow. As I said, go according to the conversation. If there is something else which has come up, take it up. Go with the flow. ऐसा नहीं कि मैं इतनी चीज रट के आई हूँ, मैं इतना पूरा ब्ला ब्ला पूरा बोल दूंगी, उसके बाद जो होना है, हाँ आप मैंने सांस ले ली, अब क्या करना है, अब ब्लैंक. अब किसी ने एक भी क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया, मुझे नहीं आता, सॉरी, I'll get back to you. No. Yes, be prepared to go with the flow. Yes, of course, if you don't know, just be honest enough and say, I'll get back to you, but be confident enough in that also, right? Okay, so I'll show you, as I promised, I'll show you a Toastmasters video. Now, what you guys have to do in this. First of all, any questions till here? These were very important pointers which you all have to take care. Yes, Ankur?
Ma'am, I just wanted to learn a little thing. Ki sometimes when you open put up an open-ended question, a debate kind of thing may also erupt, or it may turn into a constructive thing also like that. So any ideas about that? Like it sometimes become a healthy discussion also. Sometimes if you are required to take a call on that, share your opinion or not your opinion, leave it open, leave it balanced, and bring it conclusion like that kind of a thing. For
So,
example,
Ankush, what happens is
yeah.
in open-ended questions, it might not happen. The open-ended questions, matlab you don't expect an answer. You're like, isn't it? Don't you all feel also? फिर you don't wait for an answer. पर कोई
Okay.
participant ऐसा है जो बीच में से अपना question पूछता है. No. I don't feel it is like that. I have other view. You know what? This is not like that. And then he states his opinion. See, then that's what I'm saying. Again, you have to apply the styles of conversation, because there are people who will be in the audience who are very aggressive, who are passive aggressive, and they'll be taunting you, they'll be being aggressive. So you have to be very assertive that time, and you have to be very saying, all right, oh wow, that's a wonderful opinion by you. I have never come across such opinion. So first of all, thank you for your valued opinion. We can be very polite in also saying that I would let's agree to disagree on this. Okay, I have a different view, you may have a different view, I respect your opinion. Once you start respecting other person's opinion, he has no choice but to accept or respect your opinion, right? So you just have to be polite enough and say, that's a wonderful viewpoint, I would definitely respect your opinion. This what I'm conveying is my personal opinion. Okay, that's how you can be a little give it a little positive closure, so that people don't carry that negativity, and you don't want others to be disturbed by all this. Yes.
True. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, any other questions? Okay. So what you need to do now, this is 2016 World Championship Toastmasters. This is a platform for public speakers and people who come on the international platform actually prepare for more than a year, and then a lot of times they cannot make it in the same year, then they practice, they come after 2 years, and there is a lot of practice, small things on very small things which is involved. Okay, there are trainers who train the speakers, the ranking, the marks are also very minutely given, और marking system के बाद भी बहुत debates होती हैं. There are open debates which happen कि इसका ये अच्छा था, इसका ये अच्छा था, इसका ये नहीं था, critical, non-critical, good, bad, everything. So what I want you to do is, today I want you to observe the small things, the tone, the modulation, the rate of speech, the body language, okay, everything. Verbal to theek hai, but non-verbal also, because now you guys have a very detailed view of how non-verbal communication should be done. Okay, so verbal definitely yes, वो तो evidently आप लोग देखोगे, लेकिन अब I want you all to look at the small aspects also. जब ये observe करना start करोगे ना, तभी वो implement करना start होगा. Are you understanding? Yes. If yes, give me a thumbs up. Okay, very good. So now I want you to observe these small things. Then whatever are your observations, write it in the chat box, or after the video unmute yourself. आपने note किया है अगर diary में, तो unmute yourself and tell me your observation. Otherwise you can write your observations in the chat box also. Okay, 1 minute, I'll start the video. There's some message in the chat. If we keep on going with the flow, then there is a possibility that the whole content doesn't get completed. What to do? Okay, Dimple, we'll do that also. Good question. Yes, so let me show you the video first. Are you all able to see?
Aaron?
Yes. Are
Yes,
you all
ma'am.
able to see?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Aaron Beverly. Leave a lasting memory using as few words as possible, and strive with every fiber of your being To avoid being the type of person who rambles on and on with no end in sight, more likely than not causing more listeners to sit and think to themselves, oh my goodness, can somebody please make this stop? Leave a lasting memory using as few words as possible and strive with every fiber of your being to avoid being the type of person who rambles on and on with no end in sight, more likely than not causing more listeners to sit and think to themselves, oh my goodness, can somebody please make this stop? Aaron Beverly.
Be honest. You enjoyed that, didn't you? Now, please do me a favor. Recite that entire title off the top of your head right now. Go. Not all at once. Wait a minute. Do you mean to tell me that you cannot remember all 57 of the words in that title? Neither can I. But do you know what that proves? Just because you say more doesn't mean people will remember what you say. Thank you, contest chair, Toastmasters and guests. Outside of a Toastmasters club, I actually do not talk a lot. I've always been called a quiet person. In fact, if you went back in time to my college and told the other students that one day Aaron Beverly will speak in front of over 1,000 people at a Toastmasters convention, they would say, wow, that's amazing. Aaron can talk. And ever since I was a kid, people have always told me, Aaron, you need to say more. Aaron, you need to speak up more. Aaron, people won't remember what you say unless you say more. And I remember thinking to myself, is that true? Is it bad to be a quiet person? Are we truly judged by how much we say? Or is it what we say that counts? I remember a former colleague of mine from work. His name was Austin. The year was 2013, early in the morning. Me and Austin were standing at a bus stop, waiting for the bus that takes us to work. Now, the bus driver, she was about 35 to 40 years old. Every day her bus would pull up, she would open the bus doors and she would greet every passenger in the nicest way possible, like this. She was actually the meanest person I have ever met in my life. Do you know what the passengers called her? Bus Lady of Doom. The only time I ever heard her laugh was the day she left someone at the bus station. Just mean and grumpy for no reason. Have you ever met anyone like this? There we are, me and Austin, standing at the bus stop. Bus pulls up, bus doors open, and there she is. What happened next, I still cannot believe. Austin hops on the bus, but he stops. He turns. He looks the bus lady of doom in the eye, and he says, "How are you today, beautiful?" Then the bus lady of doom did the weirdest thing. She did this. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw that, I was a little scared. But with a few words, Austin turned someone mean and grumpy into someone happy. He reminded me of a time when I made someone happy with just a few words. When I was still living with my mom, I walked up to her one day and I said the words that all parents dream about. "Mom, I'm moving out of the house. My mom said, yes. I'm joking. She was way more excited than that. Now, I have not seen Austin in 3 years, but he reminded me back then and today, a few words, they can make people happy, but they can do more. They can bring pain and sorrow, prejudice and hatred, but also peace and love, pride and inspiration. And within that realm of inspiration, a few words can do something extraordinary. I'm in my Toastmasters club. It's time for the best part of the meeting that every Toastmaster loves, table topics. The topics master stood on the stage. He called out, may I please have the first volunteer? There was one hand, but that hand was special because it belonged to a young, soft-spoken young lady named Michelle. Michelle was from China. She was attending college in America. 19 years old and speaking in front of an audience terrified her. But there she was, standing on that stage. The topics master read the question. What was the greatest moment of your life? And she froze. For what must have felt like eternity to her, all she could do was stare at the floor. 10 seconds passed, and she still could not speak. 20 seconds passed. Her lips began to tremble. 30 seconds passed. She cried. I'm sitting in the audience, I'm watching this happen to her, and I'm heartbroken. Until she finally spoke, and she shared the greatest moment of her life. When my mom said she believed. What can you say to that? Those words were spoken 5 years ago, and I still remember them. Michelle, she may remember her mother's words for the rest of her life because a few words, they can touch your heart. So ladies and gentlemen, I believe that it's okay to be a quiet person, to be soft-spoken, to not say that much. Because when it comes to being remembered, I've learned and you've proven, just because you say more doesn't mean people will remember what you said. So let's make the words we do say count. You'll be surprised how long people remember a few words.
Yes. So, what were your observations? Yes, Parag.
Yes, ma'am. I have actually a long list. First observation is that like his entry and that silence, it's like about a 30-second silence and looking at each and every corner, at each and every audience almost like. So that was the first impression. That is quite good. And
so
that,
eye contact and pause.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
using pause. We did it yesterday also, using pause at the right moment. Yes. Did you see what a difference it made?
Yeah. That 30-second silence was like it's even though there is a silence, but it was connecting the people because like people are waiting what he is gonna say next.
Yes, the people are anticipating. Very
Yeah,
true.
exactly. And my second point was also that pause and the punctuations. His punctuations, wherever he is stopping, the question mark or that Like wherever he is pausing, that's the perfect time. If he is questioning, he is actually speaking as like he is questioning.
Yes.
If he is trying to make you feel like you have to be in his condition and you have to feel, so he is success in that.
Right.
Then
Absolutely.
another is like he is a good narrator, because we can visualize whatever he is saying, we can visualize in the eyes, so that is one good quality. Then
Yes.
other is like he is speaking with the feelings. So जो भी उसने story बताया, वो story we can feel and we can realize and we can watch. And that message at the last, at the end of the every story, there was a message. So he is keeping the surprise element at the last, so that is also connecting till the last moment. And that introduction of the Michelle, you can actually like visualize how that lady will look and how will be the atmosphere and everything. And the last is like during his talking to the audience, he is like speaking in a way that we can hear, our mind can process, and we can visualize. So that is the good communication skill. That is my observation.
Absolutely, very true. So one point which Parag said, we are going to discuss it, that he said it with a lot of feelings. How it is done, we'll discuss it. Yes, Shruti.
Yeah, so as Parag rightly mentioned, on the entry itself, he took a pose and observing the entire audiences, and then he immediately started connecting with the anchor, the announcer, what he mentioned about the topic, and then in the context he started. The speaker started in the context itself. Then he was frequently taking a pause with proper body languages and with the voice modulation also. And he was ready with the backup. Like he mentioned in the speech that he is not a frequent public speaker, except he did not speak much except on Toastmasters. So and he was accessing the entire stage, and the topic itself he narrated by setting or telling the stories by giving the examples, so that we can visualize the. He keep the audience tightly by telling different by setting different examples and stories, so that we can visualize and we can go on the flashback on the story itself, and we can also the audience can also be connected with the story, so that the speaker could be much better way that we understand.
Absolutely. Yes. Very so the topic was a few words, so he chose the minimum amount of words. I feel just because you say more doesn't mean that people are going to remember.
Correct.
And that is why he deliberately chose a long title to prove that आपको याद रहा title नहीं रहा ना आपको याद, that means कि लोगों को जो आप शब्द यूज करते हैं वो याद नहीं रहता है, आप उन्हें जैसा फील करवाते हैं वो याद रहता है. Yes, that's, we always say that people will forget what you said, they will not forget how you made them feel. And that's what was very aptly conveyed. Yes, Riya.
Ma'am, my observations were like when he started, how he observed the public, the connection he built with that public, and a little backup about the school time. Like he was not that confident at that time, an open-ended question, not expected the answer.
Yes.
And the perfect combination he used of like words and expression. That was like best thing, according to me.
Yes, absolutely. If it is a perfect combination, only then you can be a great speaker.
Yeah.
Yes, only non-verbal won't work, only verbal won't work.
Yes, ma'am.
So true. Absolutely. Yes. Very nice. So yes, you guys have written the same things in the chat box also. Speaking casually to get more connected, using high hand movements, face expressions, tone, etc. Everything. Very true. Yes. Yes. Anything else? Okay. Yes. Speaking of very minute details so that the audience can get more attentive to know and keen to know. Yeah, very minute details, but can you see that he was not giving The details as in the date, the time, the years, ऐसा कुछ भी उन्होंने ज़्यादा वो specify नहीं किया. Not going into the specifics, but giving the minute details of picturizing. Yes, with few words he painted the picture. Absolutely. Painted an image in the minds of the listener. Choice of words, connect, and the pauses. Absolutely. Very true. Yes. So now are you understanding that how you can use these non-verbal things in your speech? Yes. Any questions? So I'll share my screen once again. Coming to a very important next topic, which is listening. Yeah. We all know that listening is very important, but do you all know that 90% of the communication process, particularly good communication, is listening? 90%, okay? Most of the people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. Very true. So if you listen more, you learn more. If you keep talking, you are not going to learn. Yes or no? That's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. We need to listen double than what we speak. Right? So we usually listen with the speed of 125 to 250 words per minute. And we think at the speed of 1000 to 3000 words per minute. Okay, that is the reason why we don't have a lot of attention span in listening. Okay, and 75% of the time, that is why we are distracted, we are preoccupied, or we are forgetful. 75% of time. 20% of the time we remember what we hear. Only 20%. And more than 35% of businesses think listening is the top skill for success. Less than 2% of people have a formal education in listening. Okay, did you even know that there is a formal education in listening? Okay, a lot of us don't even know that. So less than 2% of the people have formal education in listening. If you don't listen, you don't learn. For 12 years, we get formal training on writing, which is used 9%. Only 9% writing is used. Abhi to even with the laptop and everything, even less. So if you consider writing in the laptop, emails, ye wo sab kuch aake 9%. Reading, we are given formal training for 6 to 8 years and it is used 16% of time. Speaking, 1 to 2 years, we are given the training. 2 saal ke baad hame thodi si language pick up ho jati hai. So 30% of the time we are speaking. Listening, 45% of the time we are listening, but 0 or few hours of training we get in this. Yes. So I want to tell you a story for this. I'll stop my screen.
I come as one, but I step.
Did I stop my screen or is it still on? Yes, can you all see my screen here yet?
No, ma'am.
No, okay. All right. Just a second, okay? I'm facing, it's stuck. My screen got stuck. I'll just start it over. Right. So the amount of training we are given in listening is negligible. What I want you to do is, I want you to fill up or just complete this activity as fast as you can. You all have to start answering these questions and start it and finish it as fast as you can. Okay, I'll start the screen share. Yes, follow the instructions properly. How fast can you do this? Okay, are you all able to see?
Yes, ma'am.
So read everything before doing anything and then start doing. Okay, read it first. Whoever is done, you can raise your hand on the screen. I'll come to know.
Ma'am, last sentence, please do not give this test away making any comment.
Ho gaya na? You read it all, right? Okay. So when usually what I do is I give this paper to my participants. Okay, we are not in a physical platform, so I didn't get the printouts. But what I do is I directly give the printouts and tell them read everything properly and just start doing as fast as you can. The person who completes the first is the winner. अब वो जैसे winner first start doing as soon as you can, वो सुनते हैं ना, तो they people, what we do is we are very selective in our listening. They ignore read the instructions properly. They don't read it. They are very selective and they start doing फटाफट करने लगते हैं और फिर 19th पे पहुंच के पता चलता है कि ओके सिर्फ 1 and 3 ही करना था. So till now in my classes, I think hardly 2 people have read it all and done it. Hardly 2. Yes, I've done it in across 2,000 participants now. Okay, not even 1% of the population is, good listeners. So that's how the thing is, that we are very selective. अगर हमें बोल दिया करो जल्दी, फटाफट करो, we listen half-heartedly. And then what happens is हम काम शुरू कर देते हैं, आधा काम खत्म हो जाता है, and then we have to rework the entire thing. A lot of times, this is the best exercise you can do with your articles. Okay, just give them this paper. If you guys are practicing CAs, if you have juniors, if you have articles, if you have people under you, give it to your articles and tell them That see, this proves that you listen half instructions and then you start following, and then you don't know, you don't ask also. We also forget to take feedback. पूरा काम करके लेके आते हैं और फिर हम बोलते हैं अरे ऐसे नहीं करना. Yes. So a lot of this is a very practically used that you need to follow is listening skills. So even when you're preparing a topic or preparing a presentation, listen carefully what the client wants or how. So whenever you're going for a training or a speech also, it's important that what the audience wants, okay, take the topic, ingrain the topic properly, and only then start preparing. Otherwise your topic you have half prepared, it will go in waste. Okay, right? And any questions in listening, anything which you would like me to answer, or so I have a very wonderful story. You can also think of the questions meanwhile you listen to this story. All of you have heard about Nelson Mandela. All of you know who is Nelson Mandela? Yes, Nelson Mandela was considered as one of the most respected leader across the world. Now, once a journalist asked him, "What makes you so great?" Nelson Mandela's, he's sitting and giving the interview, and the journalist asked him that you are respected so much across the world. There are leaders who are respected in certain parts of the world, other parts they are very criticized. कुछ लोग उनको criticize भी करते हैं. आपके लिए कोई criticism नहीं है. What makes you so great? So he said, my father was a tribal chief and I used to go to tribal meetings with him. And I learned two things by going in the tribal meetings. I learned two things from my father. He was the tribal leader. So what are the two things? The journalist asked him. So he says, first was always my father used to sit in a circle. He never used to sit at somewhere higher or somewhere different from the people who had come with the complaints. They always used to sit in a circle, all the members. So one, I learned equality. Okay, even as a leader, it is important to give equality. Second, my father used to be the last one to speak. That means he was a good listener. So I know there are people in this batch who still feel that, okay, how can we speak this, that, nervousness, but it's okay to speak less. If you are listening more, that's also a wonderful way of learning, right? So he says that the second thing I learned was he used to be the last person. So as a leader, it is important to be good listeners. As it is important for the articles also, it is important for the leader also to be a good listener. Yes. So that's the quality which as a leader you can imbibe in the next or the colleague, next line of colleagues in your office also, even in personally, in your house, in your home, with your kids also. Right? So any questions till here? Next, like one or two of you said, I remember that we have to cover 2-3 points, that how to go with the flow. Absolutely. So going with the flow doesn't mean that you get carried away. Going with the flow means you don't plan or you don't stick to your plan. Okay, if iske baad ye aisa nahi, you just have to go with the flow and be flexible enough. That's what it is. But it doesn't mean that you get carried away and you're just talking in some other topic or time hi khatam. Right? So as a speaker, you need to be well aware or well in control of the timings. And Anil is asking that as a authoritative, if we are in authoritative position also, still we have to be polite. Actually, if you are in authoritative position, it is more than necessary to be polite. Yes, of course, if you're not in authoritative, you don't have an option. But if you are in authoritative position, you should be polite to set an example as a leader. Yes. K. Fatnani says being a listener is underrated, but sometimes they end up not making their point, even passive aggressive. Since you spoke about being assertive, how to maintain a balance? Okay. See, the difference between being good listener and passive aggressive is passive aggressive people are not good listeners. Hence, they do not understand the viewpoint of others. I have a viewpoint, I have a perspective, you have a viewpoint, you have a perspective. We need not have the same perspective, but it doesn't mean that I am wrong or you are right, or you are wrong and I am right. There is nothing which is wrong and right. These are two perspectives. Okay. So people who are assertive, as I said, they respect themselves and they respect others also. So both the viewpoints you respect and you agree to disagree, and you're like, okay, fine, I don't want to demean you, but at the same time, don't demean me also. Passive aggressive people are not like that. They are not good listeners. In fact, assertive people are good listeners. And hence, when they speak, people feel कि हाँ नहीं भाई सही बात बोली है. This person cannot be judged, and this person will not really budge. Okay, he won't move from, what he's saying is correct, so he won't get biased by other people's opinion. Yes, getting it? Have I answered your question? Okay. Thank you. Very good. Now, last but not the least is most important, I would say, in all the speeches, all the conversation is own it up. So is this bar coming in the middle of your view, guys? Please tell me. मुझे मैं कब से इसको adjust कर रही हूँ. Is
No,
it, or are you
on
able
the
to?
upper side.
it is on the top.
I'll keep it here. So lastly, this, as listening is underrated, when I started the topic, I had told you that where did I start? मैंने आपको बोला था मैं आपको पूछूंगी end में कि where did I start the topic from? Did you guys note it down, or anyone who remembers? Where did I start the entire? Is public speaking about speeches? ऐसा मैंने पूछा था और उसके बाद मैंने किसी चीज से start किया था.
Connecting to people.
Right, absolutely. Yes, connecting to people, but I said public speaking.
Introduction.
Yes, introduction तो बाद में आया था. First thing I started with, अगर कुछ लोगों ने late join किया होगा तो शायद miss भी कर दिया होगा. First thing I said, public speaking is not only about giving speeches.
Influencing people.
Yes, influencing people, connecting with people. But the most important thing for that is connecting with yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So lastly, own it up. If you have a style, if you have a, any kind of a mindset, own it up and show it to people that I am such a kind of person. Don't shy away from it. If you are a person who would feel that I don't speak much, like Aaron Beverly, own it up. It's okay. You don't speak much. So what? Right? You don't. And if you are a person who doesn't like certain things, or you have certain kinds of habits, it's okay. People are not there to judge you for that. They are just there to learn. When they come to listen to you, if they can learn something, they'll be fine with your things which you have, habits which you have, or certain shortcomings which you have. We all have shortcomings. I too have shortcomings. I tend to speak a little fast and maybe have some fillers in the middle. That happens with everybody, because I feel that I should give so much to the participants. मैं ये भी बताऊं, वो भी बताऊं, ये भी करूं, वो भी करूं. So a lot of times I don't take up as many pauses as I should, and that's okay. With my students, a lot of times I don't even speak in English. I'm okay with it. They are also okay with it. Yes, lastly, it's all about owning yourself. So let's watch this wonderful, wonderful video by Deepak Ramola. He has a project, he has a channel on YouTube called Project Fuel, and there are excellent videos on this channel called Project Fuel. If you ever get a chance, do watch Toastmasters, do watch Deepak Ramola. These are all good speakers and you learn a lot from them. Yes? Yes, so I'll start.
I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. Hi, everybody. My name is Deepak Ramola, and I love people and have been asking them for a long time what is their life lesson. This series is all about passing on those learnings and sharing that wisdom with you. On the ning nang nong, the cows go bong, and the monkeys all go boo. On the nong nang ning, the trees go ping and the teapots jibba jabba joo. On the ning nang nong, the mice go clang and you can't catch them when they do. So it's ning nang nong, the cows go bong, nong nang ning, the trees go ping, ning nong nang, the mice go clang. What a noisy place to belong is this ning nang nong. This poem was voted UK's favorite comic poem in 1998. Spike Milligan, the poet, wrote so much of literary nonsense that Stephen Fry once called his poetry absolutely immortal. I think of that, and I must share with you that I was heavily bullied in school. I'm reminded of a time when my best friend, after lunch break, moved a seat away to sit with someone else. I cried, of course, incontrollably and inconsolably. And my English teacher at the time, Pragati Kapoor ma'am, came down to calm me. And I remember blabbering to her, what can I do? Life is so unfair. What can I do about my voice? And amidst the billion brilliant things she said, I remember her saying, but you can own your voice, you can own your story. That is, till date, one of my most favorite life lessons, to own your story. And ever since I have learned that to own your story means to be proud of who you are, what you sound like, where you come from, and everything that has happened to you. A year after that incident, I was participating and speaking at an inter-school debate competition. And as I finished speaking my talk, I ran outside the auditorium to get myself a glass of water. And a girl, double my size, ran up to me and said to me, that was very inspiring. That was very, very inspiring. And I said to her, I just spoke about the electrical produce in Uttarakhand. There's nothing inspiring about that. And she said, no, not the content of your talk, your voice. You are inspiring. So while I sounded so feminine, I realized in that moment that she had been mocked all her life by her friends for the baritone she had. And my courage to participate in a full-length debate competition encouraged her to speak more. Wow, that was a moment in life, a full circle moment in life. I have not only embraced my voice, but have come to use so much of it that I'm now an educator, a spoken word poet, a lyricist, an actor, a public speaker. And what I've realized is that once you own your story, you eliminate the doubt or the fear of being judged by others. There's a shred in a Maya Angelou poem that I'm reminded of. It's called To Our Grandmothers. And the statement is, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. And I think when you become proud of who you are, you stand up for 9,999 other people who sound, talk, walk, think, look, and feel like you. So you have to own your story today. I hope this fuels your day. Hi there. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. And if you did, I'm happy to tell you there's more coming. You can share your life lesson with us to be featured on the series. Visit us at www.projectfuel.in and send your life lesson. Let's learn from each other.
Yes. So we'll come to this. Okay. What did Deepak say? Did you like the way he talked? First of all, did you like his way of conveying the message? Yes. So he shared his own story, just like Aaron Beverly also, he shared his own story. So first and foremost, when you yourself connect to the topic, or when you give it your personal touch, it is definitely going to be worth listening. So first and foremost, what the good public speakers do is give their own touch. They laugh at themselves, they tell their shortcomings also, they give their personality to the talk, and don't just be bland and be blank about it. They give their own little piece of heart to the talk. That makes it all the more worth listening. So Deepak said he had a feminine voice. It takes guts to accept this. Yes, and a lot of us have these shortcomings which we take guts to accept. We can't accept, or usi wajah se, oh my god, this physical thing about myself, this hair, this look, this specs, this teeth, this voice, all these things हम रोज अपने आप को इतना बोलते हैं, इतना बोलते हैं कि वो नेगेटिविटी स्टेज पे आ जाती है, आने ही वाली है. What else do you expect? So first thing, that flamboyance, that acceptance, that ownership should come at you. तो ही वो स्टेज पे दिखेगा, और तो ही वो क्लाइंट के पास दिखेगा, तो ही वो कॉन्वर्सेशंस में दिखेगा. Tone में भी that's what we discussed. If you yourself are remaining angry कहीं अंदर से, that the deep inside anger which doesn't come up every day, but that mentally it is there and it triggers at certain positions, that tone is going to be set for the talk. But if you generally are a positive person, you are going to be like that on the stage. Yes. So if you are a professional person, generally that will be on the stage. So give that personality on the stage. That's okay. Okay, you want it to be professional, make it professional. You want it to be casual, you want it to be connected, make it that way. Yes. But don't forget to give your personality, right? So he said his own story, and so sorry, 8 seconds. There are a lot of things on the chat box. I'll just come one by one. Right. So his voice is soft. Own your story. Once you accept yourself, the fear of being judged is gone. Absolutely. And when you accept yourself, people will accept you also. Absolutely. Then, and you don't need other people's acceptance then. You have accepted. What else do you want? Right? Yes. And it's important, and it helps you to connect. Right? So does it mean you have to accept as you are? Yes, it means that you need to accept the things which you can't change. That's important. Getting it? So lastly, but this is the most important thing I would like to say, whether it is non-verbal, whether it is verbal, whether it is being assertive, whether it is setting the tone right, have it inside you. Just cultivate it inside you, and it will definitely reflect in front of people. Right? So I really, really hope that, yeah, he also appreciated his English teacher, Mrs. Kapoor, for guiding. Absolutely. So actually, Own Your Story is one of the stories is given in Project Fuel. Other stories are also, stories of actual people who have shared with him. And he has given credits of that story to those people also. And that's the beauty of this YouTube channel. Okay, so whatever you see, they are all stories of real people. And he loves talking to people, he says, right? So he's taken a lot of stories from around the world and shared it. So it makes the talk very worthwhile to listen. And that's what will definitely reflect in you guys talks, when you guys talk also, I'm sure. Because once you start, I think it's very, very simple. you will definitely find somewhere some topic which you like. Just start with that. Okay, so that's where you can really make a difference, and always make it because you want to make a difference in the other person's lives. Yes. So with this, I hope I made a little bit of difference in your lives, and I could share whatever little knowledge I had in this. And I really feel really grateful to come here in front of you people. Lastly, I would just end it with this: is of course owning yourself. But as Warren Buffett says, if you can't communicate and talk to other people and get across your ideas, you are giving up on your potential. Yes, so I'm sure you guys have a lot of potential. So please make use of that. Okay. And remember that whatever, however you are, you're just perfect to start. Yes. So that's it from my side. Thank you so much, everybody. If there is any question, we can take it up, or else we can call it a day.
So, ma'am, can I have a suggestion?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Hello.
Sure, definitely. Feedbacks
So,
are more than.
as that Deepak Ramula said, debating will always help. So, can we have a debate kind of a talk in between these participants also, wherein all the participants will compulsorily speak and have a topic may be decided by the faculty, and we'll all
Definitely. So after
speak
Aneri
together.
ma'am's session, you're gonna get the topic for mocks, and we are gonna do the mocks.
That
Yeah,
would be one-on-one, or that would be a kind of a debate.
Yes, so we are planning to keep a physical mock only. We really want everyone to come, meet physically. But there are a lot of participants outside Ahmedabad. That's what I can see now. So we will be keeping it online. Spotlight on the person, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever is the slot. You have to speak, and then there'll be 2 or 3 faculties who will be coming from these sessions only. And then, of course, you'll be given suggestions on whatever you present. Yes. Thank you so much, Patnani ji. Thank you so much. Yes. Anyone else who has any questions or any feedbacks or anything, you can write it in the WhatsApp group also. We'll definitely consider it. The other faculties would also be coming and considering it. Thank you, Anil ji. Thank you so much. Yes. So any suggestions, let us know. No problem. Thank you, Ria. And in case you have any questions, you can contact me on in the group. I mean, personally, I am a part of the group, so you can just message me if you want anytime. I also shared my coordinates, so you may try and share your feedbacks. Thank you, Ankur. All right, so I think we are good to go. All of you?
Yes, ma'am. Thanks.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. Thank you. So I really hope that now everybody has a lot of things, a lot of clarity, and still there are a lot of things which you'll learn on the way. Okay? So all the best to you all. Thank you so much for being there, and we'll be meeting again in the mocks also. I'll be there. I'll be coming again. So see you all then. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Okay, thanks, ma'am. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.